Triple Threat Podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts, Ashlyn.
Hi.
Olivia.
Howdy.
And I am Josh. Today we're going to be guiding you through a fun discussion just about various things. These two over here are twins, meaning they were born at the same time on the same day.
That's not how it works, Josh.
And they both share an odd love for Halloween and spooky things. So let's talk a little bit about that. What do you love about Halloween so much?
So about maybe like 6 years ago, we started at we work at a haunted house called Haunted Acres, and we're actors up there. So basically, we just scare the crap out of people, and we just roll with it. And it's probably the best job ever.
I think it started when we were younger. We go to my grandparents' house every year for Halloween and have a big Halloween party. So I think that started it off.
That's the funny thing, though, because I used to hate Halloween as a kid. Like anything to do with masks or anything like that, I'd like freak out about. And now we're over there, scaring the crap out of people when, it's just honestly a lot of fun.
Yeah, how the tables turned.
Yeah,
how the tables turned.
Yeah, but it's enjoyable. I mean,
What about you, Josh? What's your favorite thing about Halloween?
I'm really not that much of a Halloween person. Whenever I was a kid, it was obviously all the candy and getting to goof around with your friends. As I've gotten older, though, it's more just become about getting dressed up in a concert or a costume and getting drunk.
I mean, you aren't wrong. I mean, that's how like society kind of puts it now. It's like,
well, I mean, you don't really have you have the party sometimes still, but you can't do the trick or treating part of it, and you can't walk around in your cool costume. I mean, you have parties, you can go to family gatherings as it, but now when you're older, it's like, oh, just get drunk. You know what I mean? Like that's the go-to. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just
I always look forward to when I was a kid going up to Nana Pap's house, and then we would go trick or treating, and they would give us the whole thing of soda, and we would just have a sugar high for the rest of the night.
I mean, we would go to the nice. Well, I don't want to be mean or anything, but we'd go to like this neighborhood, and they gave out full-size candy bars, and that's the thing. We personally give out full-size candy bars at our house. No one comes up to our house because we live on like back road, and no one knows where we live because we live in the woods basically. So we give out 2 candy bars here, and then the rest is ours. I mean, I'm not complaining, but we give out full-size candy bars because we don't get enough kids. So,
and I think that's when we moved up to where we live right now. I think that's why it kind of almost like Halloween kind of got a little distant for us because we don't have those trick-or-treaters like we did when we at our old house.
But we were never home for trick-or-treat.
Well, I
we
guess
were always out about going places and stuff. So
I think that's another thing for me is I've been to other people's houses where I, sit and hand out candy. And honestly, I'd much rather do that than go to a party and get drunk,
Oh, yeah. That's the fun part, too.
Scaring the kids and, making them happy.
I remember.
But I live in a place like y'all where I can't, people don't come to my door, really, for candy.
Well, that's what we did before we worked one night scaring people, and I gave out a couple bags of candy, but it's like 2 kids. But yeah, it was fun. You could dress up and give it out, but that's the thing. We don't get a lot of trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
So you said you work at the place scaring the people. How long have you been there, and what do you do there?
So every year we have almost like a new theme. So every year it's something different. I'm usually Livia and I have been there for 6 years now, since like middle school. And basically our boss's wife saw that we were signed up for drama club for high school, and it's like, hey, why don't you come out here? You like acting, of course, this is acting basically.
And then we asked our parents, we're like, hey, can we do a scary trail? And they're like, I don't care. I'm like, cool. So we start with that, and basically we're back in between different characters each year. So I volunteer as a zombie because I just think it's the coolest thing to work at, act as, and it's a lot of fun, and you can just kind of stumble around and it looks natural for a zombie. And you don't have to your acting is so I don't know how to explain it, but you don't have to act as much as you think you do. Like some people have lines and stuff. I just have to make like growling noises and then like stumble around and then you're good. Like, so it's one of those things.
And the funny thing is our boss, he's like a big theater guy. So he's really on to the idea of not just screaming at people, but more of a storyline. So it's more of like almost like a theatrical performance, if you will say.
Yeah.
And so like every year I always asked him like, put me somewhere where I could just totally like jump scare the crap out of people. Like that's my go-to because that gets them their adrenaline pumping and then they just scream the entire way back, you know. So it's fun, you know.
Send them running.
Yeah.
But you do get those people that are like, oh, that wasn't scary, but
It's with any haunted trail.
It's one of those things. It's like some people just don't think that stuff's scary. Some people think it's terrifying. I mean,
That's me. I'm a big baby when it comes to those things. I'm the person that's running the opposite way,
did
crying.
you ever go to a trail, like a haunted house or anything like that before?
Whenever I was a kid, we would go to this place in Louisiana called Jazzland. It was a theme park. It was a theme park. I don't think it's there anymore. I think it got shut down after the hurricanes. But they would do, like most theme parks do, they would do like a Halloween theme thing where they would redo rides and stuff. So my parents would take us there and they would force me to go into the haunted houses. So ever since then, I hate them. I don't go in them.
Was this just last year?
Yeah, exactly.
Just last year. Because that's funny you say that because I just went over the weekend to a haunted house. I'm sorry, it's a haunted trail and a corn maze. You could pay separately to go to, you know, one of them or both of them. And I went with my, we call ourselves as a freight crew. So I went with some of my freight crew from Haunted Acres, and I was fine on the trail. We got in the corn maze. This guy came up to me and touched my face, was touching my hair, and I screamed bloody murder. And I was not a fan of that.
Isn't that like one of the rules? You're like not supposed to touch the people?
Well, there's that's the funny thing. I think you can have some type of
I usually
almost
think
like a
you have to
contract.
sign something because I know there's
Okay.
one in Pittsburgh. They can like throw you out of windows, but like it's like they have cushions on the ground, I guess, like out the window. But like, who would sign up for that? Did you guys ever hear
People
about
who want to be really scared.
Did you guys ever hear about the McKinnon Manor?
that we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
No.
Okay,
That's really bad.
that's
Oh, is that the one that like made national headlines
Oh, yeah.
for like
Oh, yeah.
torturing people basically?
yeah.
Like nobody has survived it or whatever.
they do like I don't want to explain it on air, but they do like the craziest thing to people, and people sign up for it, and it's like the worst things ever. Why would you sign up? And I think there was even a part I was reading an article with one of my sisters or whatever, and they said they can literally drag you from your car.
Yeah.
And
No, thank you.
I'm good. I want to stay somewhere safe that no one can touch me, and like I'm fine walking through something. When it comes to stuff like that, and they like throw you a fake coffin, it's like I'm good. I don't want to die at this age. Like I'm having fun. I'm living life right now.
Not only did they touch my face, this guy had a chainsaw and like fake dragged it across my leg, and I was not a fan of that.
Oh.
And I was like screaming like an idiot. And
Yeah.
there was a guy
I'd be
named
having a panic attack.
Yeah, there was a guy that I work with up there, and I was like pushing him, like, keep going, keep going. And I never realized, like, I'm usually okay with that stuff, but when you're in a corn maze, everything looks like people to you. All the all of the corn looks like
It's
people to you.
dark out.
So
yeah.
you like turn around 1 second, there's a clown behind you, and you're like about to scream bloody murder, you know. So it's a whole different atmosphere, you know.
I think the last like haunted thing that I actually did was a haunted corn maze, and they had clowns that would run out of the corn at you. And, yeah, no
See,
thanks.
I never did a haunted corn maze. I've done the trail and like a haunted house before. I mean, I haven't went to a lot of them before, but I've only done the trail, and I fun. I mean, I jump. I don't scream as much as I think I would because I'm used to that stuff now. But if I went through a haunted corn maze, I don't know, that's a different atmosphere. That would be like staring around, like, you know, you can't see barely anything, and there's corn stalk everywhere. Like, there's so many jump scare opportunities for that. So I think that would scare the crap out of me the most. But I don't know. I never been to one. So hopefully, I don't know.
Hopefully you don't go.
Hopefully I think it would be fun, but I don't know.
Okay, so sticking with the Halloween scary theme, let's do a tier list of scary movie franchises. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go from S tier to F tier. S being the highest, F being the lowest.
And
Okay.
then how many do you want to?
Oh, well, we'll go. We'll do a few. All right. So let's start with the Friday the 13th. Where should it go and why?
So I've watched, I think, half of the movie before. I haven't watched the entire thing. I know everyone's gonna hate me, but I've watched it. And it's pretty good. I mean,
It doesn't keep me up at night.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't keep me. It's more one of those slasher films. Like same with like Halloween. It's like Michael Myers. You see him. You know he's on the run. You know it's more of the unexpected jump scare or unknown presence that really gets to people, and that's how I am. But these slasher movies, I'm not like I enjoy them, you know. So, are we
And
doing it?
and their fatalities are kind of cool too. Like it's
Right.
kind of dark, but kind of it's in a way different from different movies. Like you can have a regular horror film and they kill someone off, and it's like, oh no. But like these like slasher films, they do different fatalities, and it's kind of cooler that way, but kind of dark and weird if you think about it. Like I'm saying this right now, but I think it's cool on that aspect, but like Ashton said, I don't think it has that.
Are we doing it by scary or like okay?
Whatever, or like
The best, kinda like
what your opinion is.
Okay. So can we put Friday the 13th to the side for now?
We can come back to Friday the
Okay.
13th.
Yeah, we'll
Sure.
do that because I'm not sure about that. I mean, I watched a little bit of it before.
Okay, so have we watched the Nightmare on Elm Street series?
Yes,
I love that movie.
Okay.
Again, I think it's one of those movies where it's good. The acting's amazing in it.
Robert Englund,
Robert Englund.
hands down. I feel like if they tried replacing him back in 2010 or 11, it did not do justice.
No, I watched that movie. It was totally different. He didn't have the same exact acting, the same exact like. When people try to replace these actors, they don't understand they're like taking something away from these.
I mean, if you thought about it, like the newest one they had in 2010 or 11, it's one of those.
I think 2010.
Yeah. They had this other guy, which kudos to him, but it brought almost too much of a darkness to his character when Robert Englund almost had like this
Funny
comedy.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, and he would always say jokes before he took his victims, basically. Yeah. And I think that's why I noticed in that movie too. I watched a little bit of it. It was more dark.
Yeah,
and it didn't have that like Robert Englund kind of comedy to it, but also it was kind of like a twisted comedy.
Yeah,
I enjoyed about it.
You're gonna kill me, but I honestly think it's the top one.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like S tier by what you guys are saying.
But we
don't know the other names of the other ones.
Well, we can
could swap them around last minute.
maybe.
Okay,
So
maybe.
We'll think about that one too.
I'm gonna put in S tier tentatively.
Okay.
Okay, so how about the Scream franchise?
I love the Scream movies.
Okay.
So we went to a convention back in June, and we met Skeet Ulrich, which played Billy Loomis in the movie, and we met Matthew Lillard, who
Hmm.
played Stewie. And so we loved the movie since we watched it, and one day we just like picked up, we're like, oh, we're gonna watch this, and we watched it like here and there, sometimes again and again, and we quote it all the time.
Can I be honest though? After like the second or third one, it's kind of the same thing.
Goes
The
downhill.
first one's the first. It's
First one's the
It
best.
seems like the first scary movies of all of them are the best, but and you already know where the jump scares are at and who it is, but it's still good because you know it's one of those things. It's just still a good movie. Like I watched that so many times, and I think the acting is amazing, and the way they make you think, and it's just one of those good movies, and like they have such good quotes in that one too. And
the thing is like after the second or third one, it's like, oh, he's the stepdaughter of
he's the stepdaughter,
stepson of the dog, or it gets almost repetitive.
and they keep like adding more characters. Like, oh yeah, Nancy. No,
that's
Friday the 13th. Wait,
not Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh, nightmare. So Scream, it's like Sydney. Oh, she had a step brother, and I'm like, it didn't even introduce that in the first one. Like, why
No.
add this twist to it? Just keep the original cast. If there's an extra person, introduce them pretty well, and then put them in the killer spot.
So
I was watching the second one. It didn't even make sense to me because she like went off to college, I think, and there was this like stepbrother. I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. You didn't even add the backstory.
So
to
where are
it.
we putting this?
It's a tie between that and Nightmare
Really?
for the scare.
All right, I'm gonna
think
put it
I'm
right
gonna-
beside it just for now.
These I'm gonna make errors or
Okay, so we'll put Scream up with Nightmare on Elm Street movies
Mhm.
for right now.
And then 13th, we don't have a spot for that yet. Friday 13th.
It is tentatively in the C tier. Okay, so our next ones are the Final Destination movies, which I personally love.
I
I
never watched this.
watched one of them.
Oh my goodness.
I've seen a scene. I've heard a scene about a truck filled with logs,
Yes.
and ever since I've heard about that,
Yes.
I never watched the movie, but I've been staying away when I'm driving. I like go to the other like lane. I'm like, I'm not going behind that because I heard some scary
Well,
things.
So what happens is, spoiler alert, they're driving behind the truck with the logs, and the log slides off and comes through the windshield and smashes the dude's face. So yeah.
Are they scary or are they like more
It's-
like thriller?
more of a thriller,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Because I've heard of them. I heard they're really good, and there's just it kind of reminds me of just like a bad luck day.
It is.
It just
yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
everything happens like I've heard so many things of just everything happening on like in those movies.
I watched the one where she was in like a tanning booth
Mm-hmm.
and she got like
She gets stuck in there.
get stuck in there, and then the one with the I think it's the same one where they're on the roller coaster. I don't know, maybe they're
Yeah.
two separate ones. I personally like them, but a lot of people aren't into that gory kind of.
Right. It is.
It's more of some people like the jump scare kind of thing. But I like
That's the thing. You need to have the jump scares or the goriness. Like if you have both, that's awesome. But I think what I like the most about the movies are like the goriness, because like the jump scares don't get me as bad unless it's a really really good movie.
Hmm.
Did you ever watch a Get Out?
Yes.
That's probably one of the best thriller movies I ever watched in my life. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a horror, but it's a thriller, and the acting in it was so cool. And I love the part where he takes the photo and the guy turns around and just the light in his eyes just fade out, and then he just starts freaking out. And then the guy that just runs,
Yeah.
and then just spins around quickly and just runs off. And
But-
it's just kind of like a messed up society, but I thought that was a cool.
So even though you didn't watch Final Destination, where do you think it should be on the list? You're not a gory person though.
I do.
You watched Saw with me. You didn't appreciate
I
that.
didn't like Saw because
We're gonna get to Saw.
Oh,
Don't
really?
worry about that. So, Final Destination. What do we think? I'm thinking maybe B or C.
Wait, we have a B and C?
Yeah, it's S through F.
Oh, that makes more sense. I know how to. Okay, all right. A B. I'll give you B.
I think B tier.
Yeah, I'll give you B. Okay.
All right. So, since we just mentioned it, how about the Saw movies?
So I'll have to watch them again because I think that the last time I watched them when I was younger,
You were not young.
I thought I was younger because you bought the box set, and I remember watching the first one, and I don't know if it was just because there was like, it was just a threat of a puppet that didn't scare me much, and it was like, oh, want to play a game? It's just a little puppet, and you're like, that's not even
The one you watched, I think it had a little kid in, and that made you nervous. I
Which
think
one was that one?
the first one. They were like, there was a kid involved, and there were, I mean, kidnapping it or something. It was like a kid with a wife or whatever, and I think that's why it took you off guard. I think because you're not a big fan of that kind of stuff.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I kind of don't remember the movie.
Oh, okay.
But I know when it comes down to like animals dying in movies, I get really upset about that.
Yeah.
So like I know you're talking about some other movies that did that, like they killed off a dog and stuff, and I was like,
Sometimes
I'm
it,
not
like
watching that.
yeah, and I personally enjoyed the Saw movies because I mean I got the whole set of them. I didn't watch all of them. I think I watched up to the third one, and it brought a whole new perspective to the horror franchise
Mm-hmm.
because you have these stupid deaths of just here's a knife,
But they did the other contraptions.
they had like the bear trap, the Venus fly trap,
Creative ways.
and it made me happy too because like even up at Haunted Acres, my boss made the reverse bear trap thing, and he put in the 1 year I was in it,
Mhm.
and that was like the coolest thing ever.
And then someone made the one that their hands are stuck up in like a fish tank looking thing.
Yeah,
And you need to get the needle, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's something different. Like when someone sees it, it's so noticeable. Like
it was a college project too. The first movie wasn't it from college?
They had like one room.
Two guys or one guy was making a college movie, and they used one room, 2 actors, and they pulled it off, and it became
Yeah, they had more than 2 actors.
So,
more than 2 actors. I'm sorry, it was a long time since I watched it.
in my opinion, the plot lines for the movies aren't that great. I mean, basic premise every time people do bad things,
They get-
guy kills people
Yeah.
who do bad things. But like you were saying, for the creativity and kind of innovation that they did with the genre, I'd put it in the C or the B tier.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, because I can agree on that because I haven't watched all of them to know whole plot line, but it's the same premise. You want to play a game, same thing kind
Was
of.
there a new one that came out called Spiral with
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock in it?
Spiral?
Yeah,
Spiral.
I heard it. I heard people say it wasn't. I heard mixed reviews.
Oh, I didn't see it. Spiral from the Book of Saw. Yes, that is something. Did not see that. Excuse the noise. A little bit of movement going on there. All right, so we will put that in the C tier.
I'll give it. That sounds about right.
All right, so how about kind of a goofy one that I think we'll agree that'll go near the bottom of the list? The Human Centipede series.
I've never watched it.
I've never watched it.
Okay.
Have
Well, I'm
you?
going to take over on this one. Yes, I have. Not much of a great plot line. Not very scary, in my opinion. Just kind of really creepy and really weird.
What is it
Might
even
give you
about?
nightmares because of just the way it is. But I don't really remember the plot all that well. But these people get sewn together.
I think I remember that part.
Well, there's the starting person, then the next person's face is sewn on to their backside, and then the next person's face is sewn onto that person's
Is this-
backside. So they're all connected like a
What
centipede.
is the point of it?
It's a human centipede.
What's the point of the movie?
This is what
Right.
Josh does in his free time, which is Human Centipede.
What is the point of the movie? That's a great question.
You can do that, but you gotta have a point. Like, there's some stupid stuff like, just random movies that they'll do stuff, and you're like, why would they do that?
Like I don't like when they kill off a character for no reason. That's one of my pet peeves.
it's a point when they do a pointless kill. It's like,
It seems to be pretty pointless.
exactly.
Film tells the story of a deranged German surgeon who kidnaps 3 tourists and joins them surgically mouth to anus, forming a human centipede.
Is there anything else to that movie? Like, is there any like points? Like,
Defend your case.
I'm not defending. The doctor explains that he's a world-renowned expert at separating Siamese twins, but dreams of making new creatures by sewing people together. So he sews these 3 people together in hopes that they share a single digestive system.
Ew.
That is the plot of the movie.
okay, I'm actually kind of like disgusted right now.
Can we put it at F?
Yes, yes.
No questions asked.
I'm going to F
offense,
tier.
that plot just makes me like, oh, like
It's pretty gross.
it makes me just want to cry.
Okay. So let's do one more. We spent a good bit of time on this. Paranormal Activity.
I watched the first
Me
one.
too.
Never watched the rest of them because so long story short, we went to the flea market like years ago. And we got the first one like for cheap. We're like, yeah, we're gonna watch this. We're gonna be cool. People said it's so good. Of course, you always got to do the thing where you have a pillow just in case of emergency. Like I always do. I always carry pillow or even a blanket in case you get scared. That movie was pointless.
Yeah, I didn't.
I watched it. No jump scares. It's just a lady walk around in the dark. Where's the jump scares? Where's the ghost? Oh no, something came out to scream at the end of it. Like, there was no point to it.
I think it was an interesting concept based on like, you know, the security cameras in the person's
Mhm.
house or whatever.
Yeah.
But execution wise, yeah, it didn't do much
Unless
for
we
me.
just didn't watch the rest of them. I think I heard the other ones were better, but I don't know. I didn't watch them before.
I thought they got worse.
Oh, really? But is it worse than Human Centipede?
No.
You're joking.
It's not worse than humans. It's
You're
better
joking.
than Human
Human
Centipede.
Centipede is pointless, actually. Well, didn't we just talk about that?
So is Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activities has to be better than Human Centipede.
I would think it's better. I would put it in the D tier.
E.
E? You want to go E?
All right. I'm no longer arguing.
Well, no, because if you make that better, excuse me, the Human Centipede, that's disgusting. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like that's why make a movie about that? Like, I can go on a rant about this. Why in the world would you make a freaking movie about sewing people together? You want to try to take Siamese twins apart?
Next week, you're going to see Olivia, the Human Centipede podcast. Just her.
People usually try to make, like, if I watch those things on like Snapchat, like they try to take Siamese twins apart to make them as themselves, to, you know, make them
Mhm.
individual. Why so people, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, the point of it is disgusting. I want to throw up, and I might need a barf bag now of just thinking about it.
Oh my. So S tier we have Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street.
The Friday the 13th we didn't put in.
Oh yeah, we didn't
I put
that
him
in
down
there.
at the underneath Saw.
Really?
Where's Saw at?
Ooh, there's gonna be
See?
a lot of people mad about that one.
Saw is at C?
Yes.
Don't you want to put 13th on A?
I would put Friday the 13th
You would?
in A. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get, yeah, we'll do that
I
then.
mean, I've watched a little bit of it. It looks pretty good. But-
It's one of those classic horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic. Like, I think it goes really well with, like, right beside Nightmare and Scream, because those are classics.
Do we have one more movie at all?
We don't need to fill
That's
in
what I
the
was gonna
I was
details.
gonna say it.
It?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got to break this down, because the first movie.
We can talk about it.
So I never read the book. Okay.
Oh. Oh.
Did you read the book?
Yes. Yes, it's fantastic.
Okay. Well, I didn't read the book. I'm sorry for disappointing everyone.
I read a little bit of it.
But
It's a long one, but it's worth it.
so I remember watching the original one, the 1990, 80. I don't know. I forget the date. But Tim Curry was the clown, and granted, it was supposed to be creepy and like on a balloon, and they dances around, you know, Pennywise dancing clown. Didn't scare me at all.
Are you serious? Dude, it made me scared of clowns for the rest of my life.
Well, I watched this a little bit older, so I didn't watch it when I was younger.
Oh.
But I watched this and I was like, well, it's not scary. It's just a clown. It doesn't do anything. I mean, granted, if you're younger and you see the clown open its mouth and has a razor teeth, I understand that part, but it didn't scare me enough to.
You know, he's like, oh, like when he's in the drain, he's trying to get Georgie down in the sewer. He's like, come on, I'll float down here. That's so scary.
That's creepy, but like when they did the remake, I remember
We went.
sitting in the movie theater.
Yeah.
We went for a birthday, sitting in movie theaters, and it got to that point where it's like, you want a balloon, George?
Yeah.
Here's your boat bag. Well, I remember the part Georgie puts his arm down there, and they don't show that in the first one, but the newer one, they rip his arm off, and you see him just flailing on the ground and getting his arm ripped off. Then they pull him under the drain. And I thought that was a scary part because you actually saw his arm ripped off. And I think that movie just had more of the jump scares I wanted and like the scarier atmosphere of it. And you're gonna say Tim Curry. I love Tim Curry. I understand. Tim Curry's great. But it was one of those things that's like Bill Skarsgård. I think he just did such a great job as him, and
He did.
he took it where you're supposed to. Stephen King made it creepy, but the original one wasn't as creepy as I thought it would be.
So this is funny because I had this conversation with one of the actors up at Haunt Acres, and he played as Pennywise maybe like 2 years ago or so. And we were talking about the new It movie that came out, you know, that was 2017 about, right?
I think about, yeah.
And
I didn't watch the second new one though. But
Yeah, and the original one, and I've always, that's just my personal thing. I always enjoy the original. It's because they give Tim Curry almost this innocent, like, kind of like this character profile
of
of
original clown.
an original clown,
And you
and
wouldn't
he's
expect him to be creepy, but then he turns out to be this.
yeah. And
Yeah.
when it came to Bill Skarsgård, Skarsgård,
Skarsgård.
yeah, it kind of took away the Stephen King-esque kind of vibe for me, and I didn't prefer it. I mean, maybe I'll go back and watch them, because that's why I told the guy up at Haunted Acres, I was talking to him about this. But his character, Tim Curry's character in the original, gave it more of like this, like, oh, hiya, Georgie, like innocent clown, until they got to the second part where they're like adults, and he's like, beep, beep, Richie, and he's like following him around. But the new one, it almost like took it to a whole different level for me, and I don't know if that's why I didn't like it. But then I also don't know, are we just grading it as a general franchise, or are we gonna have to argue about which version?
It's hard. It's hard to. I would say.
Newest one?
I didn't see the second part of the newest one.
Yeah, I
didn't
saw
know.
the first part.
Yeah. So I guess we have to go off the original.
It wasn't scary. It didn't have that scary atmosphere to me.
I guess D is the only one open left.
But
we have Scream.
We can have multiple.
that's what I was gonna say. For Scream and Nightmare, we had that for S, because that's original. That's
Honestly, I'd put it up in A tier. Another
A
one of
tier?
those classics.
yeah.
That's what I.
Yeah,
You
even though we could fight for hours about which one was better, but I think it was one of those things. It was like I watched it in movie theaters, and I remember the jump scares and just like not even screaming, just jumping really hard, because it was just like I know in the original they try to do different unique like scares for him, because he was a clown. He could transform into basically whatever.
Mhm.
And
Whatever
then
your fear is,
yeah,
that's what you
basically.
transform into.
but the newer one, it showed more of that your fear.
Yeah, I did like that about the new ones.
Yeah, it showed a lot more. And I think I liked it better too, because it actually had that. I think it was in the book, Scary House, the house.
Yes.
And it showed more of that, and them going into there, and kind of weird stuff going on. I think there's a part where, gosh, what's that kid's name? Eddie.
Mhm.
Asthma.
Asthma kid. And he went in with, oh my gosh, I can't remember their names. Richie.
Yeah.
He went in with Richie, and I think Billy?
Yep.
Billy? I can't remember the name.
Main dude's Billy. Yeah.
Billy, Richie and Eddie, and they all went in together. And I think Eddie and someone else got split up. But I remember there's a part where Eddie popped up out of this mattress, and it wasn't Eddie. It was actually a figment of it. And he was like freaking out and stuff. And then I think one of my favorite parts was when he broke his arm.
Yeah.
Eddie broke his arm, and the clown's dancing over to him slowly.
Yeah.
And then he's slowly coming over, and then Beverly just spears him, I think, like, or hits him, or I forget what it was exactly. It has been a long time since I watched it, but she basically like almost tries to kill him basically, but doesn't succeed. But I think that was one of my favorite parts. It's more of that like dancing around clown and stuff, and
Yeah.
kind of
So,
stuff like that.
do you want me to read off the list?
I have it right here.
Okay.
We have S tier, Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. A, we have Friday the 13th and It. B, we have Final Destination. C, we have the Saw films. E, we have Paranormal Activity. And F, we have The Human Centipede, which is where it belongs.
Oh, I thought you guys were arguing to put Human Centipede above Paranormal. That's why I was getting angry.
No,
Oh, no,
That's
no,
why-
no.
that's what my-
we're keeping Human Centipede down there because we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's why I got
Like,
myself
we
all.
don't want you to bump that up there.
No.
Because,
That's why I got myself all confused.
yeah,
I think,
that's
for some
why I
reason.
I
was.
was a little confused too.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't do that. What are you doing?
So let's stay on the topic of movies and let's talk about remakes. What do we, how do you guys feel about remakes
So
in general?
it all depends on the movie and how you feel about that movie. I think most of the time they do really well with original movies. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's crappy, they need to make a new one. Great for them. But I think you always want to try to stick with mostly the original cast. If it's supposed to be like a next generation thing for like a sequel, or well, not even you're talking about a remake, not even a sequel, but remake. I mean, if you want to keep some of the original cast, you can. If not, I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, it all depends on how well the movie goes. You sometimes see just like those new show coming out, and they're like even old shows we used to watch when we were younger. I'm trying to think.
Girl Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch that when I was younger here and there, and I think that show is great. Great show. They made one called Girl Meets World.
Right.
What's the point of that? Like, I heard it wasn't even that good, and it's. I understand it was a Disney Channel show, and people probably loved it, but all in all, like, I think Boy Meets World did pretty good all by itself. You know, you don't always need that new reboot or the remake or even like a sequel to it.
So you're not a fan of remakes, is what I'm
it's all
gathering.
like I said, it all depends on what it is. But
Mhm.
most of the time, it's like a no go. It's
What's the point?
yeah, because you already got your message over with the first 5 seasons of that show. You know what I mean? You don't need an extra thing to explain, like, oh, they had a daughter. Yeah, I understand that, but keep that up to your imagination. Sometimes people like that after shows, oh, what happened after the show, and people make up things, you know? And it's kind of cooler if you do that. So,
Because they're coming out with that new Ghostbusters movie. It's like the granddaughter of Spangler, Egon. Did you ever watch? Any of you guys ever watch Ghostbusters?
Just the first one.
Okay.
yeah, Ghostbusters.
I like
We
the.
can talk about the other remake they did also.
Oh,
with
the little
female
girls.
class.
I heard. I never watched that one
we
actually.
didn't watch
I
the
didn't
remakes.
watch
We
it
watched the
either.
first 2 movies because those movies are great.
But,
We quote them like nonstop.
Yeah, but the thing is that new one that's coming out with like it's Egon's granddaughter or something.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Afterlife.
that's
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry. I
understand they're trying to give tribute to him. Egon, oh my gosh, what's this actor?
Harold Ramis.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he passed away, and they're trying to keep his spirit alive and everything. But sometimes you don't need to make the granddaughter of someone to keep their spirit alive. Like, I know I was watching an episode of What If, and Chadwick Boseman, it was one of his last projects. They didn't try to recreate anything of his. They basically took his character, put his voice in because it was his last project, and then at the end just put like a big in memory of him. And I think that was a great idea and a great way to send him off, because it was one of his final projects, and it was sad that he passed away, but it was the tribute was such a great thing to look at and be like this is amazing, you know.
See, Ghostbusters is the one movie it's one of my favorites of all time. Like both of them, the first and second one. I mean, some people don't like sequels, but I personally enjoyed it. But that Afterlife, the Ghostbusters Afterlife, I was just so against the idea because they take something so good, like an 80s movie, any 80s, that might be a false claim.
I want to say 99% of 80 movies are great. Even 90s are pretty good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you take a classic 80s film, it's like taking Ferris Bueller's Day Off and remake.
Oh, yeah. That's
you don't
like.
do that. That's one of the greatest 80s films.
I bet they will do that at some point.
Oh, I hope they don't.
You've watched it, haven't you?
Ferris Bueller's Day
Yes.
Off? Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Mhm. In my opinion, all these remakes are just Hollywood getting lazy.
I like that. I like how that sounds, because it is true. Because I understand you want to make a live action Mulan and stuff, but they try to charge us 30 extra bucks on Disney Plus for it, and people were like, "Well, it shows the culture really well and stuff," and I understand that, but I really wanted the music in it, you know?
Yeah.
There is no Make a Man Out of You. I mean, that's a catchy song. All the songs in there are catchy, but they took they took Mushu out.
Yeah.
They took the little lady.
Do you know that?
No, I didn't watch it.
You didn't know they took Mushu out?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, they took the little ladybug beetle thing out, or the beetle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, and they took, and I understand they did like the fighting and stuff, but the music really what makes a Disney movie a Disney movie, and so they took all that stuff out. I'm like, I don't know, I just didn't watch it.
I have a quick question for you, Josh. I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Do you like Broadway musicals?
Yes,
Okay.
actually.
Did you hear about the new Dear Evan Hansen movie?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, they released music, didn't they?
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to mention super quick because not all of you guys. Well, you don't really care for it.
It depends on the songs and stuff.
But it was so good. I love the music from Dear Evan Hansen and all this other stuff, and they got the guy Ben Platt to play Evan in the musical,
He
and
looks like a 30-year-old.
and he's 30 years old,
He's a
and
30-year-old.
and it was like people had mixed reviews about it, but I listened to the music they had from the movie, and it's so auto-tuned.
Oh, really?
And they cut so many good songs out of there, you know? So it brings like the whole plot line, it's different because it doesn't have that same message, you know? So it's like they almost kind of ruin the broad, like the theater, you know, kind of aspect of it.
I think if they cut his hair and did him a little better looking, he would have looked like a 16-year-old kid. But no, they kept his hair long and they kept him looking like a hobo.
I haven't seen that
no
movie.
offense, but they did like I would see like previews of it, and they would just keep his hair long and kind of like not brushed and stuff. Like it just didn't look like a teenager. Like usually I think of like a teenager kid with like short hair and kind of like slick and kind of cleaned up a little bit. It reminded me of like a 30-year-old, nearly like. I don't know how to explain it, but it just didn't look right in my mind.
That reminds me of a movie that I was going to bring up. Have you ever seen She's All That? It was a 90s movie.
We've been talking about that movie for a while, and we really want to watch it because we love Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard. We haven't got to it yet, but we keep going back to the scene. There's a scene where Matthew Lillard's dancing at this party, and we keep cracking up.
That's the best
And we keep saying we're going to actually recreate that scene. It's
awesome.
And we keep singing that song and just like acting out, and we really want to watch it. We just haven't got to it yet.
Isn't it like "Give It to Me, Baby"?
Yeah,
from
give
Rick and Jay's?
Give it to me. Give me that stuff, that funky stuff. Yeah.
And then he does like a worm and like goes in a back tumble, and we haven't watched it
It's
yet.
a great scene.
But we've been watching that.
Did you like it though?
I love that movie.
Oh, you do love that movie.
What I was gonna say is they made a remake of it called He's All That with Addison Rae as the
Isn't she from
star.
like TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hear me out.
And hold on. And it's absolutely awful, and her acting is terrible. And it's like it's like product placement throughout the whole movie. Like I forget what it was, but like one of the opening shots is like zooms past an obviously placed product, and that's the rest of the movie, and the acting's terrible.
I hate when that happens.
And the guy who they're supposed to be remaking doesn't look like he's in high school. Looks like he's like 30.
That's the thing. Like, some people think like, I understand if you like TikTok or Instagram and stuff like that, but some people think just because you're on TikTok, you're a great actor. It depends. So there's some people I see on TikTok and they're great actors. They make skits. They have fun with it and they're really good. And I'm like, oh, you should go into acting. Addison Rae and people that just do dance and they get billions of dollars, I don't think they deserve that. And I know I'm going to get yelled at for this on the podcast, and I could care less. But when you do a dance and you get billions of dollars and they think you need to be an actor, I think that's completely wrong. Not everyone's built for acting. And if you want to throw me under the bus, I don't care. I could care less. But it all depends on who you are. Like, I see a lot of people make their own skits, make their own like characters, and it's really creative. Like, her name's Call Me Chris. I don't know if you've seen her before, but she does like the toddler skits and stuff. And she's like, if she had a kid or something, like, she's funny. She has like a lot of good acting skills. When you put Addison Rae or like one of those like preppy ladies with like the dancing and they dance and they get billions of dollars, they're not meant for the acting career of it. Sure, you can build up to it, but also it's one of those things not everyone's meant for it, and people are kind of just looking past that now and kind of thinking, oh, this is the great acting of the era, but it's not. So.
It got a 30% on Rotten.
Exactly. But then there's another point I had. I was reading up, and they're trying to cast all these celebrities for voice acting. I read this up, and people are like, well, there's actually professional voice actors, and people are selling them out basically because they want to be voice actors. And I think it's one of those things is like, if you're a good voice actor, go for it. But at the same time, there's voice actors already out there.
Like the new Mario
Yes,
movie.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. And I always thought like before I die, I've always wanted to be a voice actor in a video game. That's like my one like bucket list, like,
and that's great if you're really good at it and you practice up to it. But some people just go on there and they're like, well, I saw a picture of Chris Pratt, I think, being Mario.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Pratt. I understand Chris Pratt was in the Lego movie and all that stuff, but when you get like a celebrity, like there is the Paw Patrol movie, Kim Kardashian voiced one of the dogs.
Oh no.
Kim Kardashian, she doesn't act, she doesn't do anything, but she wanted to act in this because her daughter loves Paw Patrol. I could care less. You're not good. You still sound like you're a preppy person wanting money for it. You I don't care. Like, I wish someone else voiced that person because it doesn't make sense in my head. And I hate saying this, but it was a wrong move.
Do you think Livy's going to get killed for all these comments she's saying?
She might, her head might explode.
I'm very strong opinionated. I am.
Okay. And, well, let's wrap this up with one more movie related segment, I suppose. Actors that have fallen off that used to be great.
Have you ever watched The Craft?
No.
Is it the oh crap, not Neve Campbell?
No, it's that Faiza Bulk.
Mm-hmm.
She played Nancy.
Oh, yes. I haven't seen her in a long
Wasn't
time.
she in an Adam Sandler movie?
She was in The Water Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I thought I love that Craft movie. I don't know why, but I watched it like here and there, and I think it's such a great movie, and it's a cult classic, and it was great. Kind of underrated a little bit, but she played really well in it as that creepy witch that wanted power.
Mhm.
Wait, you've watched this before?
No.
You've heard about it, okay. But so she plays this character and she's like all crazy and she's trying to get all this power from this type of god, like a god that they're all trying to get power from, and she just goes crazy. And I think it's cool because in the beginning she's like studying and the next thing you know she goes crazy and off the rockers and she gets sent to like a mental hospital. And I thought her acting was really good in it. I thought she should have went in more scary movies as like a villain or even like just a person who just goes off the rockers, because she acted really well in it.
Yeah.
And she kind of got like power crazy and kind of just like, her acting's really good in the movie. And yeah.
She is an actress that I enjoy, and she used to be in a lot of movies. But I'm looking at her IMDb right now. She's only been in 7 things over the past 10
Really?
years.
Yeah.
10 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking of that because I was like, I remember her from The Craft, and it was such a good movie, and she just played a really well villain. And then
I'm wondering because who's that lady that played Wendy in The Shining? Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes
What
I feel
happened
like
to her?
well, after all the crap she went through for The Shining, she kind of quit. And I'm wondering if some of these actresses or actors just can't take the stress anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they did that one scene on the steps with her with the bat like 100 and something times or 200 times, something like that was some type of world record thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically admitted to people, she says, it kind of ruined acting for me. You know,
and
so
she was put on the spot so many times during the set. I heard she was just on edge all the time because I think she was just tired and
It's
I
a lot
think
of pressure.
yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of pressure
And they kind of like neglected her too. So it just
if you
didn't
really
help.
think about it, it's kind of sad because she really wanted to act and then they just threw her under the bus, kind of.
Oh, and I saw her in couple other things. She's amazing.
Mhm.
Like it's not like she
What
doesn't
other
have.
movie did you see?
I saw her. I think in the scene of like Popeye with Robin Williams. She's was in.
yeah.
And she's like really good. Like she seems like a really good actress. And it just like, it kind of like broke my heart because it's like, you know, you never realize how much crap they go through until they quit or they just kind of fall off the side of the earth. Not literally, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Metaphorically. But
And that's the thing too. Like they try to cast these great actors and stuff, and some of them are good, and some of them
I have one too.
are horrible. And I think it's one of those things. It's just like they need to start kind of looking more at the underrated people
Yeah.
and be like, hey, maybe this person will be good, and give them more chances, because I understand it's kind of like if you play a sport, you don't give everyone a regular chance at something, and you want to give more people who have more experience that. But I think it's always good to broaden your variety of people,
Right.
so you're not copying the same exact people over and over and over again.
So I had 2. I mean, I have 1 down, but I have 2 because my 1 was Johnny Depp.
Okay.
After all that happened with his wife, and they found him
They
not
canceled
guilty.
him instead of her.
Yeah, and that really ticked me off because I've always
There
watched
was
him.
proof
Yeah.
that he didn't do anything wrong, and she made up all this crap, and
And-
people got so mad at
She's
everyone.
a psycho.
She is, and people threw him under the bus. I'm like, no, there's too much.
Because I've
Yeah.
always watched him in like Sweeney Todd, Dark Shadows, Corpse Bride. He was in like, you know, in all these things. And I've always just enjoyed him because he was such like, I mean,
Willy Wonka was pretty good. The newer remake kind of. Yeah.
but he was just such. Tim Burton basically hired him for everything.
Mhm.
And I saw a post that said that because Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton got divorced, and they said who got custody of Johnny Depp because they're always in the same movies, you know. And he just has such like any role you could throw at him, he could just transform.
Yeah.
He's just so easily, you know,
Mhm.
and he has this dark like kind of personality to every character he brings that I just really enjoy because I like that kind of like that dark kind of grungy
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
But what irritated me the most was I was reading up on him and his ex-wife, and it really irritated me because it said he wasn't even doing anything to her, and she started screaming and like alerting people like, oh, he's abusing the blah blah blah, and he wasn't doing anything, and then people got mad at Johnny for it, and then people started understanding, wait a minute, like this isn't right, and then people started standing up for Johnny. And did he win anything, like a win suit this case or anything like that?
I think it's still
going on.
Going on. Yes,
Yeah, because I remember that was a big thing, I think, during the summer. And it's
I
just,
believe so.
it's just kind of upsetting if you think about
And
it.
then
Because
I had one more, and it's Helena Bonham Carter. I know I just mentioned her, but for my English literature class, we watched Hamlet, and not the whole thing of Hamlet, but small pieces of it. And if you have your guys ever read Hamlet?
no.
No.
So basically, there's a lady named Ophelia, and that's supposed to be Hamlet's love interest. And basically, she loses her father, and she kind of goes like mentally insane. And they don't show that as much in any of the Hamlets because she's a lady. You know what I mean? They don't show that. But she brought justice to the role because she showed that ugly side of Ophelia that people don't see usually in the theater
that's
or on screen. And so she kind of, brought it to life. And not only that, she's amazing. She's an amazing singer. Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp. They're both just, and I know people are going to be like, the original Broadway Sweeney Todd is the best. I was like,
Harry Potter was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I was just gonna say, wasn't she Bellatrix?
Oh,
she was
she was-
Bellatrix Lestrange, and
Yeah.
I think
She did a good job.
every
on that.
time I watch that scene where spoiler alert, she kills off Sirius Black and she goes back to Hogwarts. It's like, I killed Sirius Black, and she freaks out. And
Mhm.
just her character and how she does it is like really cool, and I enjoy watching that on screen. After I read the books, and then of course I watched the movies beforehand, which I wasn't supposed to, but it was cool to watch that.
Shame.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. One last one. One that I personally love and haven't seen in a long time. Zoe Deschanel. The lady in
Elf?
Elf, New Girl,
Where's she at?
500 Days of Summer. Who knows? That's I haven't.
I've never seen her act other than Elf. Is she a really good actress? I'm guessing.
I really like her,
I
and
thought
she
she
has
was
a
good.
beautiful voice. Also,
Mhm.
Yeah, because I remember we would always sing "Baby It's Cold Outside." Yeah,
mhm.
and we would always just be like singing that song because it was just from that movie.
I'm trying to think of anyone else that kind of fell off the.
She hasn't been in anything in a long time.
Why? Like that's why it makes me wonder almost. You know what I mean? Like, is there something going on that we? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other people.
Oh, we can wrap it up there.
Okay.
We're almost at an hour.
We talk a lot.
Yeah, it went by fast. So, thank you everybody for joining us, for
Thanks.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back next time with new topics, new things to talk about, and any last words?
Happy Halloween if we don't make one beforehand.
There you go.
Happy Halloween.
All right, and that'll do it for us over at the Triple Threat Podcast. Happy Halloween and goodbye.
Bye.